Hi everyone, FT here, hope you're all well. This is video number 10 of 10! Hooray! I finally got around to making the last video in this series. The final gun is this Airsoft 6mm non-gas blowback Ruger Mk I, branded ASG, but it's actually made by KJW. Well, the box has got a lovely pretty picture on the front. And it is just a box lid with a polystyrene inner. So let's take the lid off. And we start with the manual. Now the manual actually is pretty good. It's in good English. The parts here, it's got these silly diagrams of what you shouldn't do. Basic operating instructions here, how the safety works, how you take the magazine out, fill it with gas, load it with BBs. Diagrams here of the disassembly, takedown. Perfectly straightforward except for one thing, and I'll show you that, and that is in fact the reinsertion of the mainspring housing here. It can be a little bit problematic. It is extremely hard to video. Hop up, how it's used, and then a diagram of both sides, left and right hand sides. But good little manual. You can see I've had this out of the box before because the magazine's not in here, it's actually in here. So let's correct that. Take a look at the magazine, nothing special about the magazine. It's got a draw down lever here. You can pull it down, but you have to hold it at the bottom, and then you just literally pop the BBs in through the top. There's no hole anywhere to load them. Just drop them in through the top. Gas goes in the bottom. I use green gas. It comes with a box of BBs. I don't know how many in here, I haven't counted them, but they're quite good BBs. They're nice and smooth, no seams on them, perfectly usable. The pistol itself. So let's take a look at the magazine. The magazine is pretty much all metal. Obviously there's some plastic bits like this pull down lever here. Pull the lever down and hold it down, which is compressing the spring. Pop your BBs in through the top here till it's full, and then you just let go of this. Gas goes through the valve at the bottom. Pretty standard valve. The only thing I'd say about this magazine, which makes it look a little bit unusual, is this release mechanism up here with the Allen key and the frame around it. Most airsoft guns I have don't have that type of setup. So the way we feed the magazine in to the pistol is through the grip, bottom of the grip, and it has a hook here which holds the magazine in place. Now muscle memory, if you're using this, might make you go for a button somewhere around here to release the magazine, or a lever over here somewhere. Obviously there's nothing. The way the magazine is removed is the little foot and hook here that holds the magazine in needs to be pushed backwards, and at the same time, where these little cutouts are, they're on both sides, you need to put a finger and pull down. Then you can just slide the magazine out. Now it sounds more awkward to talk about it than to actually do it, and as you can see, when you're used to it, it's pretty quick. Let's take the magazine out and let's take a look at this. So it's basically all plastic. The only thing that's metal are the internals and this rear sight. The outer barrel is all plastic and you can see a seam, but it's not bad, you can just about feel it. This whole top section is removable, which we'll come on into a minute. 4 sights are basically fixed set piece of plastic. It's a big block of plastic. There's no highlight painting on it or anything. You could do it yourself if you wanted to. The hop up is this hole here. And you are supplied with a little Allen key that you can drop in, turn it left and right to adjust the hop up. It is of course non-gas blowback, so it doesn't chamber rounds or anything. This just sits here, as does the charging lever. In fact, the charging lever is held in place by the pin that holds this top on. The real decent thing about this pistol are the rear sights. They're metal, they are adjustable for elevation and windage, and they're just really nice. They're the cut blade type. Looking at this left side of the pistol, the only part you can operate is here, which is the safety. In the current position, it's fire. Push it up, and it is quite stiff. You hear that click. It's now safe. And the trigger's actually locked. Fire, push it up, safe. Plastic grips, and on this right hand side there's no operative part whatsoever. There's a serial number here. I've no idea if it's genuine or fake. I expect it's a fake number. That's to say it's not unique to this particular pistol. ASG branding on the lower frame, and here on this side grip, but nothing on the left side grip. And over the front here you have your Cal 6mm BB, and that is all it has. There's no threading on the outer barrel, so you can't apply a silencer or mock suppressor. So let's feed the magazine back in here. And let's just put that down and let's look at the Mark II for a visual comparison. So there's a couple of obvious differences. The Mark II comes dual tone, as it's called on the box. This has a fibre optic self-illuminating foresight, a fixed rear sight very high up. I don't like this rear sight, I prefer the rear sight here on the Mark I. This whole top section is metal and it's fluted, so it's got a nice look to it and it adds a lot of weight. This Mark II actually weighs in at 790 grams. But like the Mark I, the only feature on the left side is the safety, which is here, and it's exactly the same. Up position is safe, down position is fire. This one's a bit smoother to operate because I've used this Mark II much more than I've used the Mark I. The magazine release is exactly the same as the Mark I. It has a hook here at the base and a cutout on the grip on the left and right hand side, so if you're ambidextrous you can still push it back and get a finger under there and drop the magazine. My Mark II magazine is CO2, so the only thing at the bottom of this, there's no fill-up valve, it's just a place for a big Allen key to go to screw the CO2 cartridge in. Apart from that, loading is the same. It has a plastic pull-down lever or knob, and you drop the BBs in from the front. These are not interchangeable magazines, a couple of reasons. A, this is CO2, so it's a little bit bulbous, and it won't go into the grip of the Mark I, which is green gas. And two, they're actually a different design at the top here and at the foot at the bottom of the magazine. So those are reasons it wouldn't fit. The grips, as you can see, are different. These are linear grips as opposed to these checkered grips. This has ASG branding on the left side grip and nothing on the right side grip, whereas this has nothing on the left side grip and branding on the right side grip to this Mark I. So the takedown process on this can be a bit cumbersome, as I've said. So what we do is, on the back of the grip is a lever. We put our finger, nail or something in there and pull it down. We then lift the whole back of the grip out to a position like this, and then this whole pin here will just pull out. Pull it straight down, it comes out. Now this acts as the mainspring housing as well, and here you can see the mainspring just dangling down. Now to finish the takedown on this, what we do is push it forward and lift up, and it comes out. And that is the upper part of this Ruger. Now the cocking handle can now be extracted. It plays no function. And that's basically about it, because everything else is locked into place. There's an Allen key hole here for a small Allen key. If you unscrew that, this whole outer barrel part can be separated. I'm not going to do that on video. You can take your inner barrel out. There is a hook mechanism just in here, if you can see that move. If you pull it back, you can slide the whole inner barrel out. So you have your inner barrel, you have your outer barrel, you have your cocking lever, you have your lower frame, mainspring housing, and I suppose you could call it a takedown pin, and your magazine. I am going to interchange this part with the silver one, so let's get that done. So if I now take the magazine, the CO2 magazine, this is the Mark II. I have the Mark I mock cocking lever and chamber cover. I actually think it looks pretty good like that, so I'll leave that one there. So we're back to the Mark I. The metal parts on this are on the inside of the lower frame. So to put this thing back together, this little hook has to be pressed again. You can then slide the inner barrel back into the outer barrel. This is the hole for your hop-up Allen key, and it needs to match this Allen key screw head here, because this is your hop-up. So as long as you get them the right way around, drop it in, get it set up the right way, and then the hook will hold the inner barrel in place. So I'm going to put this one back, but using the Mark II metal part. And then we put this mainspring housing and locking pin back in. So the locking pin is angled in such a way that it has to come up through this hole, right the way up through here, which is easier said than done. Once you get used to it, it's okay. It's hard to do on camera though. that, and lock it back down, and we're good to go. And that's pretty much all there is to it.